Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You gotta eat what you kill. You gotta go out there. You gotta hunt for your meals.
We all have that ability to connect with people, to be that motivational person in somebody's life.
You gotta let people know there's certain lines you don't cross, and that there's gonna be consequences if you do.
Man up.
If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, that person's emotions are not your responsibility.
Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
The devil, during slavery, destroyed the masculinity or manhood of the so-called Negro. No man. No man. Right now you got to be trained all over again to be a man.
When someone is obligated to do something, it is binding upon them to do it. And failure to do it causes reaction.
Man up.
Position make you rich. I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
If that people knew that glorious path, if that people knew that glorious path, if that people knew that glorious path, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You want to tell me about yourself? Go get your friends. I'll tell you who you are based on who your friends are.
Don't just live and die. That's an ugly existence. Make your life matter. Make your life count. Live a life where people can actually mourn you for the things you left behind, not just because you were around and existed.
We need strong black nuclear family.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is. Mother, father, son, daughter, all in the same house with a focus on the family unit as a whole.
We had Tulsa, Atlanta, New Jersey, Detroit. We had Rosewood. We had Black Wall Streets all over.
The Republicans aren't for us, but the Democrats aren't for us either. And we should have no alliance to any political party. We only have alliance to what is in our own best interest.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
At the end of the day, as men in the community, we must stand together and be counted, because people look to us for guidance, leadership, and protection. And if we are not about that business, we are not on our job. Here we have grown-ass man conversations in the spirit of that purpose. Anthony Malcolm, Bobby Drake, Major Gage. We are. This is Manifestations 2020.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Oh yeah, what's going on? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yeah.
Manifestations 2020, we in the building. What's up? What's good? This is your boy Major Gage. I'm live. I got my mans with me, Bobby Drake and Anthony Malcolm, and we are Manifestations 2020. Fellas, what's going on? What's cracking, man? Talk to me.
Shit, it's just a lot this weekend, man. A lot of things going on this weekend. Shout out to my boy Marty Ma, DJ Marty Ma bookings. You can find him on Instagram. Super dope dude. If you got a vibe in Tampa, I just went out to his event. He lit it up, man. Really dope thing. Connecting with sisters and brothers, trying to do some functions that are very healthy and non-toxic. I also want to give a shout out to Coco Graff, who's from Broward County. And it's kind of weird because back in the days, I used to work for Dr. Pepper Snapple. And when I was working there, one of the stores that I used to go to was Winn-Dixie, where her mother worked at. And I remember when she first got on the national stage, like she just got drafted up at 15. They were very excited, and I was so glad for her mom. You know, she kind of took her mom from off of the struggling plantation and now is living a great life based on her phenomenal skills. And for her to win this championship, trophy in tennis, which I think, I'm not sure if they're saying she's the youngest to do it, but she won it, and it was phenomenal. She was an underdog, came back. The girl beat her in the first set, came back and won the rest of the sets in dominant fashion. So, Black girl excellence to her. Shout out to her. We gave her a crown check before, much needed and very deserved. Also, I want to give another shout out to the Black girl who broke the record, fastest Black girl in track, and she got disqualified for putting an extinguisher on her cleats. And the reason why I give my hats off to this young lady, even though they're trying to tarnish this woman's image, this young girl's image, she paid homage to another Black man who did that, and he didn't even know. It was people that was tagging him, that was telling them that, this young girl did exactly what you did to pay homage to you. So just showing that these young kids are acknowledging their elders and doing great things and following the footsteps and being inspired, man. I hope this girl gets reinstated, and definitely trying to reach out to her to see if I could get her or her father on Manifestations. That would be super dope, because we need to encourage that, because dominant society likes to dumb down our great athletes, our great people, and we need to be that beacon of light for them. And I'll land my plane on that.
That's what's up. And shout out to that sister. I want to make sure we get the sister's name out there. That sister Clara Adams. That's what he's talking about. Shout out to you, sister. Yeah. Keep your head up. I like the fact that you brought her up and you really gave her some respect going in. Bobby, real quick, what's up? Talk to me.
Yeah, nah, man. It's a beautiful day in the Manifestations hood. Glad to be here for another week. It's a blessing. It's a privilege. It's an honor. I saw that story, and all I could do was just shake my head like, here they go. They at it again, man. I'm not sure what rule that supposedly violates. It was something that was done after the fact. The race is over. No one else is competing. It's not going to impede the track in any way, shape, or form.
Ridiculous.
No one was hurt. No one was. It's ridiculous. And again, it's paying homage to others who have competed and excelled in the sport. And the funny thing is, a lot of these sports that typically, at least the organized forms of it, typically aren't so much us-based or us-related.
Yeah.
They tend to be huge sticklers, supposedly, about tradition. I know that a couple of, I forgot the brother's name, but there's a brother on the U.S. Olympic team, a male gymnast. He's amazing. I think it's Freddie. I can't remember his name. Freddie something, but brother's amazing. He's trying to low-key start his campaign to revamp the uniforms for the gymnastics team, because he's saying, the look itself is outdated. Yeah. But there are other styles that are much more comfortable, that are much more easy as far as allowing range of movement and comfortability. And he's trying to lead the campaign, and they're trying to give him all kind of static, talking about, well, that's going to break the tradition. That's going to take away from how we do things. Here we go. She's paying homage to the past.
Right.
People who helped pave the way for her and others like her in the sport. And it's a problem.
Of course.
But that's how they do it. The Masters, if goalpost moving was a sport, these people would be running the boards undisputed with all the Russian vitamins to boot. It's ridiculous.
Facts.
But we know what the deal is. Even if they refuse, we're gonna have her back. We're gonna lobby and campaign for her. But even if they don't reinstate her, even if they don't give her flowers, she's our champion.
Yeah, facts.
And that's where it matters most of all. We don't need these people to go ahead and give us our flowers, our props, our nominations. Damn it, we are sufficient enough to go ahead and give ourselves our props, and it should mean more than it does coming from them.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree, man. And you know, the thing is, you know, when you're black, you can't do nothing right. You know what I mean? They're going to find something wrong somewhere. They're going to look for things to disqualify you, to strip you of what you have earned. You know, so this is why we have to be even more careful, you know what I mean, and more unified, careful, so that we avoid some of these traps that, you know, they want us to fall into, and more unified, so that if in the event that we do fall into a trap, we got each other's back, and we make sure we rally behind these people, we circle our wagons, and we get justice. You know, that sister needs to get her medal, you know, and get her accolades, because she ran a phenomenal race. I mean, what's the problem? You know what I mean? But this is where we are, and this is who we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? So, my God. I think I heard you guys talking in the chat, too, about maybe possibly getting the parents on or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that will be extraordinary. You know what I mean? Hopefully that comes to fruition, because, you know, a lot of times when these things happen, because there is no mainstream black media. There is no mainstream black media. Let's get that out the way. All the black media is underground, and, you know, people on YouTube and TikTok and so forth. That's the black media. The Tariq Nasheeds, Phil Scotts, Jason Blacks, Manifestation 2020s, that is the black media. So a lot of the time when these stories come out, they don't get the proper light. They don't get the attention that, you know, they should get. And so people just kind of forget about them. So we got to make sure we try to stay on topic as much as we can, stay on top of it, so that we can, you know, get that sister what she needs. So shout out to that sister. And I really, really hope that, you know, that whole situation goes the way that we know it's supposed to go. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get down to the nitty gritty, man, because it's so much, man. It's always so much. Like, I don't know if we'll ever run out of topics, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, this week, I saw so much going on in the media, and this is where my spirit took me, man. I want to talk about projection. And, you know, for those of you who don't know what projection is, we're going to talk to you about it right now. You know, projection is a psychological term which refers to a defense mechanism where an individual unconsciously attributes their own thoughts, feelings, or behaviors to others. Essentially, it's a way of avoiding uncomfortable emotions by seeing them as externalized and belonging to someone else. This can manifest as attributing one's own insecurities to another, or seeing others as having traits that are actually one's own. So, you know, basically, you know, as a purpose, it serves as a way to protect your ego by highly avoiding self-awareness of undesirable qualities. And an example they give is a person who is secretly angry might accuse others of being angry, or someone who is jealous might suspect their partner is being unfaithful. Why it happens? Projection can arise feelings of inadequacy, low self-esteem, or a need to avoid acknowledging difficult emotions or behaviors. So this is where we are, man. At the end of the day, we got a lot of that out here. A lot of the examples that I used, I put 4 pictures on the flyer, and, you know, just to go over those, we're going to touch on each of those today. Halle Bailey was 1. Desiree Perez was 2. I put Diddy on there, and I put Remy Ma. And I'm going to start off with Diddy, because Diddy, I kind of feel like Diddy, his entire personality is projection. You know what I mean? Diddy has talked at length, you know, about people always hating on him and people always attacking him. And, you know, he even changed his name to Love. You know, he's supposedly all about love, right? Man, have you heard the shenanigans that are going on in this trial bruh. And look, I get it. You know, some of it may be exaggeration, some of it may be hyperbole, but everybody ain't lying. You know, the brother Q from Day 26, he came forth this week, and you know, he was talking down on, you know, the situation where he was dating Dawn from Dirty Money. That was his girlfriend at the time, and you know, Diddy invited them to all go hang out, whatever the case may be, and he got an ecstasy pill from Dawn. Apparently it was laced and it was more than X in the pill. You know, it knocked him out, you know, 20 minutes later, and he wakes up in the twins' bed with a bunch of people around him, you know, with cameras recording him and laughing at him. So I don't know what they had that brother doing, but he was like terrified, you know, at that experience, you know, whereas he went, you know, in Diddy's vicinity with someone that he trusted, you know, and apparently Diddy put this person up to something that put him in a predicament. And, you know, in Hollywood, you know, there's a saying that, you know, a lot of these people, they don't speak out, they don't stand up, you know, they just kind of take whatever they get because they got them on tape doing something strange somewhere, you dig? And so he suspects that that's what was done to him, like he was tampered with while he was asleep or something. And he said he felt like they were going to sacrifice him. He broke down in tears in the interview. I'm like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? So like that, to me, Diddy is like the poster child for projection because he's always, you know, talked about how other people are always hating on him because of his success. And other people, you know, he even has a song with Diddy talking about how they pray. I'm sorry, he has a song with Biggie talking about how they pray for his downfall, right? And in the beginning, he talks about how jealousy is a mother. You know, you're weak, jealous mother. When you get jealous mother, you're just a weak mother. You know what I'm saying? He's just going off. And it's like, man, you talking, bruh? You dig? Because you listen to his record and his rap sheet and his reputation, and it just seems like he's everything that he always talks about other people are to him. You know what I mean? He seems like he is that person. That's how it looks to me, according to the evidence and what I've heard and seen thus far. What y'all say?
Yeah, Diddy has his own demons that he's fighting. A lot of his work is projection, and the reason why is, you know, we talked about this and I've stated that the goofy niggas that get power are the wrong niggas to get power. Because the goofy niggas, the gang goofy niggas who get power, abuse their power. And they're manipulating people, they're talking down to people, they're bullying people. You know, there's no difference than white supremacists, right? The little dorky, nerdy, fat dude or just what we call not normal behavior type guy, the weird white dudes that was in school that never got no play. So they run to the police force, get that power, and then they become assholes with that power. You know what I'm saying? So you see a lot of people that are gang goofy that get that power that end up abusing it and abusing people in the process. So Diddy has a whole, man, it's over the years when you have people that are narcissistic or people that are very demonic like that and carry themselves in a way that is very toxic and unhealthy, and you don't check that shit, it grows, it feeds the monster. You know what I'm saying? I remember I was watching a show called something about the cats. Like it was a dude who killed the cat on Netflix, and then they had all the internet private eyes that went and found the dude who was killing the cats. But what happened was, it was a gang goofy dude who was weird and all that and socially not there. And what he did was he killed the cat, but then eventually when he was killing the cats, before they caught him, he ended up killing a real person. So when they caught him, they found out that he actually killed the real person the way he was tormenting these cats.
Wow.
So I'm saying that because what happens is, when you don't catch stuff like that in the smaller stages, it progresses and they be a bigger monster. And then they get to go into a higher high where they need something bigger, which goes from an animal to now a human. No difference than people that experiment with drugs. You start with something small and then you end up progressing. If you don't stop it, progressing into something hard. Next thing you know, you are strung out on heroin and an overdose on crack. And I'll just land my plane on that.
Well said. Bobby Drake was cracking. What you got on that?
Oh man, the diddler. He is the septic tank that keeps on filling itself.
Shit, boy.
Amazing. take that. Take all of that.
Pause.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of depth to what Ant was just talking about just now, man. We talk about, and this is definitely a key theme that you'll find in a lot of men's talks, what have you, about striving for better, especially if you had like a rough start in the beginning, if you weren't very popular, if you weren't well liked, if you struggle socially, but whether it's with making friends or with the opposite sex, or even just, finding your way. One of the things that we always tell young men is to just, put your head down, shoulder up, blitz through it. It gets greater later on. Use the adversity, use the hardship as fuel and motivation to go ahead and succeed. Become somebody. Go ahead and let your success be the best revenge. Make it so that your haters end up having to call you sir, make your enemies a footstool, this, that, and the third. And that's great, and that's valid. And that is excellent motivation, and it has worked very, very well over the millennia to catapult men into making something of themselves. And it's not a 100% success rate. Nothing is. But a lot of men owe their success, owe the life and the lifestyle that they have, that their families are living. They owe it due to the hardship that they had early in life and being able to take that and use that as a fuel source. And it's done well to get to where they want to be. The danger in doing that without also, bless you, the danger in doing that without also speaking to character development is that you very well, not trying to be comical about it, but a young man who takes that to heart and becomes super driven, but is not likewise developing their character, may very well find themselves becoming, for all intents and purposes, a freaking supervillain. And so you have this youngster, he grows up, he becomes successful, wealthy, he's networking, his IQ is developing, he's learning, he's hardworking, he's willing to sacrifice, do whatever it takes to secure the bag, to secure the prestige, the power, the wealth, and the influence. Yes. But because there's no positive attributes to his development and his training, he becomes this poison dragon where now he's basically just fueled by revenge. And so when he makes it to that point now, his goal isn't to just live a great life. His goal isn't to just, have a wonderful wife, have beautiful children, dog, the picket fence and all that stuff, and have a great life, leave a legacy for his children. Now it becomes a campaign to either or shit on all the people. He's got that list, he's got that Deadpool in his head, that list of all the people that did him wrong, I'm going to do them dirty, I'm going to do them foul or what have you. Or to just go and revisit that trauma on other people. So now he becomes the bully. So now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take my power and reuse it to make other people miserable. I want to make other people feel as horrible as I did coming up. I couldn't do it when I was younger, but now that I got the power, I got the resources, now I'm going to use this to the fullest extent to make everybody suffer like I did.
I'm going to get them niggas. Yep, there it is.
And I strongly suspect, I could be wrong, but I strongly suspect that was a story of Sean Combs coming up. Where he got to the point where, now I have this power. I feel like I'm supposed to use it in a negative aspect. I'm going to make people do what I want them to do. And I'm going to try to fill that emptiness inside of me. You will hear time and time again on this show, either Major and or myself, somewhere along the line, bang the drum for therapy and taking care of your mental health. And it's not because we're broken records, but it's because you really don't understand. We live lives from the inside out, not the outside in. Whatever level you reach in life, whether you're successful, whether you're dusting in the dirt, whether you're happy, whatever, All those things come from the inside first. And all some power, wealth, and influence is going to do is going to help magnify what's already there. If you were a piece of shit when you had nothing going for you, when you get some paper to your name, you're going to be a gigantic septic tank. You're going to be a whole landfill. Right. If you were a kind, generous, benevolent person, when you had crumbs to your name, when you get bank and paper, you're going to be freaking Mansa Musa. You're going to be the most charitable man possible because that's what's in you.
Yeah.
Make sure that as you're growing and developing and striving, because that's important to do, please make sure you're equally investing time in your personal development, developing your character, your morals, your thoughts. You're getting therapy to heal yourself so that you don't become this broken poison dragon later on, where everywhere you go, you just breathe toxicity and poison and negativity. There's absolutely no reason why Sean Combs shouldn't be the most generous and benevolent person in the music industry, looking out for all the artists. Right. Diddy has been blessed to be in a position where he really has been an anchor for the culture. The whole 90s and the 2000s would not be what it was if it wasn't for the influence and the genius of Diddy. It wouldn't.
Yeah.
So many legendary rap and R&B and music acts have gone through his fingers and through his platforms. And it's such a damn shame that every one of them just about has a horror story about doing business with him.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be the case.
It's ridiculous.
Let's make sure that the next Diddy, the next Jay, the next person of influence who comes up is able to give just as much, if not more, to the culture. But instead of decades later, we get this freaking horror anthology coming out.
Yeah,
in the legal system. Let's make sure that it's an avalanche of well-wishing, of praise. You know, he did so much for me and my family. He took everyone. He just made us better people as a whole. We need some more of those people to get in these positions.
We do. Because
and I just want to add on real quick to back that up. Yeah. Remember when Diddy had got on, he was carrying the piano for Teddy Riley. And you remember he was carrying it blocks and blocks. He was telling he was carrying crates and all of that. What did he do later on? He went to making the band and had them going blocks and blocks for cheesecake.
Yeah. And just I'm gonna just put it out there.
Yeah.
I never saw the thing where he was carrying the piano for Teddy Riley, but that's some whole shit. And having somebody walk blocks and blocks to get you some cheesecake, it's some whole shit. You know, it's totally unnecessary. It has nothing to do with building character. If you want to test people, there's going to be organic chances throughout the process to test people. You understand? You don't have to go out of your way to make a production out of things. We need to remove this toxicity from the industry in its entirety, man. It's way too many horror stories out here, man. And people just trying to, you know, be artists. People just trying to put their talent out there. People just trying to get the lick. And you take advantage of them as much as you possibly can. It's despicable behavior, gang.
And that same practice is practiced in those sororities and fraternities. Hazing.
Oh, my God.
I was about to go there as well. You know, we have to make sure that it's one thing to develop character, to develop perseverance, to make sure that people are serious. I'm with all that, and it's important because the most valuable resource you have is time. And especially if you're at these levels, if you're looking to reach down and help people up, the last thing you want, because you can't pay for that kind of access, you can't pay for that kind of game, whatever. The last thing you want is a mofo wasting your time.
Facts.
That's the last thing.
Yeah.
But let's make sure that what we're doing is first and foremost enveloped in love, because you can feel the difference. And number two, it's not meant to cause suffering, humiliation, and embarrassment.
Facts.
That's the problem. A person who is putting themselves or really putting themselves out there and testing themselves and showing that they're dedicated, they're disciplined, they're ready to go the distance, that experience, it should exhaust them. It should leave them fatigued. I don't even say they should leave them feeling drained and even a little beat up and battered. That's fine. But what it should not do is leave them feeling less than.
I agree.
They shouldn't feel humiliated. They shouldn't feel like a lesser person. They should make it out the end triumphant, like, damn, I overcame this. I did that. I'm really him. I'm really her. And if whatever process you have or protocol you have in place for developing that character, for really making sure these people are serious, that filtration process.
Yeah.
If your process at the end of the day doesn't leave people feeling better about themselves than when they walked in, you're failing the mark and you're missing the mark. And it's funny how all these people, like you mentioned, doesn't matter if it's these fraternal or sorority organizations, it doesn't matter if it's the music business. It's funny how all these people years later are ending up paying for it. These sororities getting shut down, people getting arrested, people getting brought into trial and sued because these processes broke down other people and it demolished human beings instead of building them up.
Right. And over time, you know, that's how you tear your own house down, man. You know, these institutions are implemented for us. And if we go in there abusing them, then there's not going to be anything for us. So we got to do way better on that as a people. Well said. Great points, gentlemen. Moving right on to my next topic. I got to bring this. I feel like I got to bring this back because, you know, this is not going to age well at all. But, man, is this something? Look, bro, you got to.
If I think I have anxious attachment style, everybody knows I'm an Aries. I'm a fire sign. I get very passionate. I seem nice online and innocent and everything, but you guys do not know. I will go to battle with my yelling, with my words, everything. I'm good at that, right? And if I gotta yell or check anyone, that's what I gotta do. That's just the way I be.
See, that people thought she was playing when she said that. And when this whole thing jumped off with her and her child's father, DDG, you know, everybody instinctively, as they always do, you know, they jump on the woman's side. You're supposed to have empathy and compassion for anybody with a pair of titties. You don't bother to try to get no, you know, context, understand anything. You don't wait for the evidence. Oh, what? That nigga must have did something. That's always the narrative. Man, I got so much. Boy, DDG and his team, they unloaded the clip on this heifer in court. Boy, look at here. We found out all kind of interesting things about Miss Halle Bailey. This is my first little nugget right here. DDG claims Haley took his gun after threat, submits concerning text, leave me to die. That is actually in one of her texts, bruh. You know what I'm saying? This is the person that we're dealing with. Halle Bailey. DDG's mom says Halle Bailey placed multiple air tags in DDG's vehicle. Claims Halle allegedly popped up on DDG while he was at the movies with a female friend and tried to fight the woman. That's in the court logs, gentlemen. That's in the court logs, all right? There are articles being written on these things. I think they found 5 air tags. That's the 5 that they found. I don't know if it's any more, but they found 5 of them. They found them in the baby's diaper bag, in his vehicles. I mean, this woman was stalking this man. She showed up at the movie theater. The mother's a witness to fight one of the girls that DDG was dating after he got rid of her. You understand what I'm saying? Never mind, she threatened to abort the baby because him and her were having difficulties. She threatened to abort the baby because him and her were having difficulties. Who does that? What kind of sick individual does that type of thing? Oh my God, if that ain't bad enough. She stabbed the guy. Stabbed the man in the hand, bro. That's what is being alleged. That's in the court documents, bro. You understand what I'm saying? So this is the type of person that we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh my God. And then when you start talking about the actual text, she just spazzing out. Hey, this is proof. You leave me hanging as a mother. You don't step up. She can't spell at all, my God. But I'm reading through the gibberish, right? You won't step up when I need you to. I'm begging you. Just found out you with Lala in Mexico. I'm going to kill myself tonight. My son will not be around for it. I hate you forever. You can have him and let her be his mom. This the woman that got your kids, bruh. Talking about she's going to kill herself. And that chick that you banging, yeah, you can have her and let her be his mom. This is what she's telling you in these text messages, bruh. And then you got more. Answer the effing phone, you know. Answer the phone. I'm going to try one more time. If you don't answer, it's over forever. I'm not playing Daryl. That's it. I'm calling for help. You can't see the bottom of this page because the page is funky, but the last text that she sent says, I have a knife. That was the significance of that particular text thread. So she took his gun when they had an argument, threatened to kill herself. I didn't have the screenshot of that one, but she also threatened to abort the baby. You know, she's talking about she has a knife when she gets upset because she thinks that he's with another chick. She's stalking him. She cut him. I mean, all this is allegedly, but I mean, there's evidence, bro. You understand what I'm saying? And what's crazy, what made my head explode, is that's not even all of it. That's just, you know, this show is only so long, so I can't go on and on and on. But those are some of the main things. And what really made my head explode, you know, you always got to read the comments. And damn if these goofy bird-ass females ain't in the comments talking about, oh, you know, she's having postpartum depression. You know, y'all making too much out of it. You know, that's normal when you got postpartum depression. First of all this stuff didn't happen after she had the baby. A lot of this stuff was before she had the baby. This is throughout. These are text messages from over the last couple years. You understand? As early as May of last year, I think is the last one. But, you know, to 2 years prior, she's just all the time. She's erratic and making threats. Anytime she don't get her way, she's making some type of threat to hurt herself or whatever the case may be. You may not be threatening to hurt the baby, but you're the baby's mother. You're going to kill yourself and you're going to leave Halo with no mother. He even says that to her in one of the texts. And it's like, so he's requesting full custody of his child because he's saying that, you know, she's mentally unfit, you know, and I kind of have to agree if I'm just looking at those text messages. My God, who acts that way? So he did have some success. TMZ reported that his restraining order was rejected. That is false. His restraining order was granted, so she cannot leave the country to go and take the baby to Italy. She can't do that. She can go to Italy, but she can't take the baby with her to Italy. You understand? So that much is good. But man, I'm concerned about the baby now. God damn. And you know, it looks like he wanted to keep all that stuff under wraps, but she tried to destroy this man's image publicly, and so she kind of forced his hand. He had to show everybody what type of a goddamn lunatic she is. That's what I got from it. What y'all see? That's what I got from it. What y'all see? Talk to me. Talk me off the ledge.
Nah, you right on the ledge where you need to be. Because at the end of the day, you know, when you look at these type of stuff, one of the major things we always talk about is make sure you know who you're dealing with when you procreate.
Yeah.
As much as I want to have sympathy for DDG, and I do have some sympathy and empathy for him, but part of his responsibility and part of holding him accountable is this is who you chose to lay down with. You know, so you have to look at it as a learning lesson. I know you're a young dude. You got to look at it as a learning lesson. And hopefully, you know, one thing that I do like about celebrities when we're having healthy conversation and dialogue is that you get to see these people that you guys admire go through the same stupid, dumb shit that regular people do. They just have more money and a wider platform. Agreed. So instead of embracing the toxicity, just look at it and learn from these people's fuck ups. That's the greatest thing. You get to learn a lesson without being in the lesson when you watch these type of things. Because let me tell you something, and I think a lot of preachers don't talk about this, but I'm always a number one advocate for this. You can live heaven and hell on earth. Heaven and hell is not in another realm. We don't know what the other realm is. Heaven and hell is what you're doing on earth. You can live heaven-wise, like a tranquil, healthy, a very happiest and joyous life. There's plenty of people that's living like that. Everybody ain't struggling. Everybody ain't mad. Everybody ain't grumpy. There are people that are living healthy lives, enjoying life and living it. And it doesn't have anything to do with money. It's basically how they roll with how themselves, how they're grown, and how they'll function through their family, but you have the power to control whether you're going to live in heaven while you're here on earth or live in hell. Because there's a lot of people that got money and they are living in hell because of their fucked up choices. And money can't get you out of those choices. You know, it can help you, you know, to deter a lot of that stuff, but you're still going to live in the full effect of hell.
Right.
So I think a lot of times people don't look at it from that perspective, but this woman is very psychotic. And like Drake has said previously on this podcast, a lot of these women go undiagnosed that have mental disorders. And that's a clear, I'm not anybody clinically, but I'm just saying, if somebody can admit out of their own mouths that they have some real fucked up ways, that is mentally somebody who's not really living in the correct space, headspace that they need to be living in. You know, so a lot of these women, man, have to be self-evaluated. And fellas, you know, just like how these women are asking you to show them, you know, medical records to make sure you clean. Hey, when the last time you got a medical record to check out your head to make sure you got a psychiatrist? Do you have a therapist? That should be a number one. Do you have a therapist? You know, that is a clear indication of where she's moving forward. Because one thing that I don't like is this narrative of the victimhood of women. Women are always placed in the victimhood, even when they are a villain. And that's one of the reasons I hate the fucking Tyler Perry movie Straw. It fucking victimizes women that make piss poor fucking choices. And you got a whole movie rallying behind that shit and catering coddling to that shit. And when I'm looking at all the women that are supporting that fucking movie, it's women that made fucked up choices. And that's why they're gravitating and trauma bonding with this movie on another level. I'll land my plane on that.
Facts. Shout out to that garbage ass movie for being garbage. Straw. That's probably, I don't know, it's out of that one and the one with Kelly Rowland. Which one is the worst that he's made? He's getting progressively worse. I'm gonna do a whole post, a whole video on that because that shit was that bad. My God, Bobby, what you got, man? Talk to me.
Oh man.
Women are wonderful, right? Ain't that what she said it was? The women are wonderful theory.
The women are wonderful effect, yes, sir. I've had some very interesting conversations and I've observed some very interesting conversations related to this.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to the extent at which men are expected to just go ahead and support and empower female nonsense.
Yeah, it really is.
It's amazing. I've literally seen, and this is me not even studying this case that much. I honestly have not gone out of my way to look for anything about this case. It's just been flying around so much. You can't help but be informed.
You can. It's everywhere.
It's damn near in the ether. You can almost inhale it.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that, you know, before this particular development, this wrinkle in the whole situation, he was all kind of negative, this, that, and the third. He's harassing her. He's doing all these things to, you know, to bother her and everything. He's not safe, that, and the third.
Yeah.
And then he breaks silence and he goes and drops receipts saying, Is this your queen?
Yeah.
Is this what you riding for? Is this her?
Basically.
Miss
And they say yes. And they say yes.
Right. And then I've seen on more than one occasion in a ton of responses to this that now apparently showcasing evidence and receipts and invoices and ticket stubs, clearing your name, saying, "Hey, you think it's me? No, it's her." Now apparently that is you harassing her and tormenting her.
Not only that, it's sassy. That's what I've been seeing.
Why are you putting this out to the public? Why is this being filed in court? Wait a minute. She's saying and doing a whole bunch of garbage that has nothing to do with the courts whatsoever on social media.
Come on now.
It's cool when she do it. It's the problem when I do it. Wait a minute. So if I just sit back and let you slander and besmirch my good name, my character, then I'm everything that she said.
Yeah.
If I fight back and defend myself, well, you're a horrible person for fighting back and defending yourself.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
It's if you honestly take a look. I've said this before, and I have no qualms with saying it. You can say whatever you want to say about me. I don't care. My life took a strongly positive turn when I stopped listening to women.
Wow.
You can say what you want. The peace and the clarity of mind that I developed when I stopped listening to women to the next level. I can count on one hand, maybe borderline two hands, maybe one hand, the number of women that I actually listen to. When I say those women are sharp,
yeah,
they're
out there,
they're clear cut,
yeah,
they're solid women, they're pure gems, and they're logical. They don't camp and they don't do the whole pick me nonsense for men. But at the same time, they don't go and they're all anti-men. They are fair, they are balanced, they're down the line, they call it straight. And sometimes every now and then I'll even bounce some ideas off of them. They keep me centered. They keep me in alignment. But I trust them and they have proven, I've observed them, I've witnessed them in a number of different situations and scenarios, and they have proven themselves to be women that I can listen to and trust, and I can respect their perspective and opinion.
Nice.
But the rest of them, most women do not know if they're coming and going.
It's unfortunate.
They're out here in the airport trying to catch a plane using the damn bus terminal map. That's how wonky they are. And you can tell by the results they're getting in their own life. You can see the chaos and the anarchy in their own lives. Again, it's not me jumping on, it's not me just nitpicking. No, I can see the instability in your own life. I understand why you would see things this way or have this perspective or try to give this I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that you are a person who is sincere and believe what you're saying.
Yeah.
Which means I know you're not a bad person, but I know that it means that there's some screws loose and you would benefit greatly from a maintenance man or some kind of caretaker to fix that up there.
You need something.
So you have to understand when you see the instability to recognize it for what it is. And like you said, Ant, you got to do the vetting. We tell women a lot of the time you should have picked better, but it's not a one-way street. It goes two ways, fellas. You have to pick better. Again, being a good parent starts long before the child is in the picture, long before the child is conceived, long before you and the mother, or speaking to women, long before you and the father get together and y'all bump uglies. When you are first vetting and considering who you are sharing yourself with, who you're considering for dates for a future with, that right there is the beginning of good parenting decisions.
There it is.
What's the buzzword now? I treat red flags like Six Flags.
What?
It's that's a you get these little quips and these little mottos out that they come up with now.
Like Six Flags.
Because people tell people you see the red flags, avoid the red flags, and some people saying I treat red flags like Six Flags. I want to go on all the rides. I want to just go for it. These narratives, it's goofy, but unfortunately, the goofy mottos fit what the behavior is.
Yeah.
It sounds like it would be hilarious. It would be a drop dead laugh riot if people weren't really doing these things. How long have we been hearing dudes talk about crazy women got the best vagina? And so, I want to make decisions. I know I shouldn't be here much longer with this
Don't get
woman,
me
but
started. Don't get me started on these coon ass. Man.
And then they end up making permanent decisions with these people. Now all of a sudden they complain, man, my baby mama do this and third. You didn't see the red flags? But I thought it was Six Flags. Okay.
He thought it was six, exactly. What a clown.
So we have to start beginning with the end in mind. Just doing that, I'm not even going to take it any further. I'm just going to keep it as bare minimum as possible. before anyone that you decide that you're going to be intimate with.
Yeah.
I could go a lot further, a lot more restrictive. I'm going to keep it as loosely tethered as possible.
Yeah.
Before you even consider doing anything physical with this person, ask yourself, if everything possible went wrong today or tonight,
mm-hmm.
and this person wound up pregnant or got me pregnant, would I be all right with my child being like this person?
There you go.
Would this be someone that I could co-parent with if there's nothing to it? Could we at least say that? Just thinking like that alone. And trust me, that's not even scraping the bottom of the barrel. That really isn't.
That's
but
real
just
basic.
That alone
mm-hmm.
would make a world of difference.
Right. Yeah. But you got these radical feminists out here influencing our women, telling them, that you can wallpaper the internet with your ass and it's okay. It's your body. You do what you want to do. What did Aleister Crowley say, the famous Satanist? Do what thou wilt. Do you. Do what you want. It's just okay. And we see where that's getting us, right? The whole what anything goes mentality. Do what thou wilt. We see where that's getting us.
And we keep complaining about it.
Yeah.
Which is
obviously
hilarious.
You got to do something different.
That's why I tell fellas all the time, when a woman says, I'm looking for a guy who can handle me, that's a red flag. Run the other way.
It's a wrap.
Because that's a woman that is not accepting accountability. You're supposed to accept her toxicity and her bad behavior.
Yeah.
And you are a real man by doing that. Bullshit. That's like you going off into the middle of the fucking ocean, knowing that your boat has 4 fucking holes in it. What is the fucking purpose? You're going to drown. And another thing too, that you got to watch these women when they have children. When these women have small children, because everybody is not just making children together and starting a family together. There's a lot of blended families. So part of your vetting process is figuring out, how does she treat her child? Because a lot of times these women are making videos and they child over there, fuck you. And they like, that shit's so funny. And then guess what? I just showed y'all a video about that. She's from an island. It's an island woman that had her son, and she's calling the child services to get her son removed out of her house. But these are the products of women that let that little small shit go until it becomes a huge problem now, and fuck it up your whole life. See, that's what we was talking about earlier. When you don't check it young at an early stage, it ends up growing to be a bigger and bigger problem. Till it gets to the point where it's going to go all the way left. Now you want to crush this dude's neck, like you saying you're on live talking about you want to strangle and beat your son, which can end up land you in jail. And he might end up dying. And your whole life is screwed up now. You know what I'm saying? All because you didn't take the corrective time to check that shit at the stages. Also molding your children on the right path. That's what our elders did for us. That's how we got here. Even the drug dealers, I can't talk about it more, how the drug dealers have protected me growing up. They knew that I was a product of a good lineage, and they said, man, we didn't have what you have. Fuck that. We don't want you out here. Go to school. If I see you out here, I'm going to tell your parents, and I'm going to fuck you up.
There it is.
That right there kept me on the path. We have to do the same thing for the next generation, and I land my plane on that.
No, y'all speaking nothing but facts, man. And a lot of that comes from us just having that foresight, and us just not being selfish. You know what I'm saying? You always look out for the next person with your actions. You know what I'm saying? And we've gotten away from that. Very broadly as a community, we've really gotten away from that. We've become far too individualistic. We don't do what's good for the whole. You know what I'm saying?
Let me add this one thing in, dog, because I really hate that fucking movie, dog. But in that movie, fucking Straw, dog, let me tell you something, dog. And I'm talking to all the women that like that shit, right?
Yeah.
You sit there and like that shit because you want to sit there and be praised for your fuck up mistakes and things like that. But yet in in Tyler Perry's movies that y'all don't acknowledge is the toxic black women that treat the other black women like shit.
Yeah.
In this fucking movie, there's a black woman that kicks her out the fucking her fucking apartment before she even came back with the fucking money.
Yeah.
Didn't even give her no fucking empathy, cussed at her, and then the black woman is cussing at the cops that came out there. Yo, man, y'all
it's
got
always
to
a mammy.
change the programming, man.
Always. Yeah, we might have to do a whole show on that because that shit, it was that bad. If I don't do the individual interview, the individual review, we might have to do a whole show on that. It was that bad, bro. Like, and I'm gonna go back and do some retroactive reviews on Tyler Perry's shitty ass movies because his last 3 or 4 were just so horrible. Tyler Perry writes on a 3rd grade level. I don't know what niggas keep seeing in his movies, and you see the comments and they, oh, it's just wonderful. You did it again. It's like, did what? This nigga
stunk it up.
Oh my God.
Stunk it up.
Oh, and he I mean, but outside of his page, he probably got a bunch of bots on the page for the film to do that shit. But outside of the page, even black women are dragging this movie. Even they're tired of the pandering. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, nigga, come up with something new, bruh. You know, there's a part in the movie where Tiana Taylor says, oh, you know, maybe she'll speak to me. You know, I'm a woman, someone she can understand, and, you know, all this old bullshit. And she's like, well, you know, a man robbed her and a man fired her and a man did this. And so they just found a way to crowbar that in when there were women in that story that were shitting all over her. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
What? The damn principal, I mean, you know, we found out some other shit was going on, but, you know, the principal was looking at her all kind of crazy, whatever the case may be. Like you say, the landlord put her ass out. You know, the women in this movie wasn't rocking with her either. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
And the lady in the grocery store wanted her to lose her job over some wick shit that she wasn't supposed to do.
Come on, man. And then
the men are the bad guys, though.
But the men are always the bad. You have to ignore all that and find the man who did something wrong somewhere, because Tyler Perry is still mad that he was molested as a child by men. I think that's just what it boils down to. You know, and the thing that irks me about that is he keeps attacking heterosexual men, but the heterosexual men are not the ones that assaulted you.
Projection.
But that's a whole other story. We'll be up here all night talking about Tyler Perry's goofy ass and everything wrong about him. So let's go on to the next topic, because we got some other stuff here, man. We got to bring this monkey to the front of the congregation right here. Look, bruh, I just don't understand. You know, why some people it's like they're just the gift that keeps on giving.
The circles that's being ran and wrapped around over there. Like, I would cry. I feel bad. I literally told him, every time your current come up says my name or does something that I feel is trying to attack me in any type of way, I'ma drag you. Whoever get you, they'll see. They'll see. I seen one of these. She was like, she said there was others. Who are they? I want to know. Do your own homework. No. Well, why she out at me? Because you loud. And I know he cares about his personal image and what people think. I just don't understand why, when every time somebody has something to promote, talk about that. Talk about whatever your endeavor is that you have coming up. It's so easy. It is so, the same publicists that y'all use to push stories out, that's the same publicists that before you walk into the room, you say, hey, anything about Ram, anything about this? I don't want to talk about that. Oh, if that was my friend, I would be like, girl, you just turned 30 years old. You are a world champion. You are accomplished. You have made it from out the ghetto, from the slums, from the depths of Flint, Michigan. You don't got no kids. You have your whole life ahead of you. Why are you attaching yourself to this 47-year-old man that doesn't have anything going, has no career, no job, no income, except for the income that he's claiming off of your percentage because he's your manager? Got you out here talking, looking crazy. He's the one that don't want to sign, don't want to get his stuff out his ex house. Doesn't be there for his child that he begged for, but telling you he wants another one. All of our other kids, they're grown. They're the same age as your girl. You know, they're the same age. DJ was born in 95. She was born in 96. So I know how to deal with people of this age. You understand?
She is such a demon, bruh. Like I got to the point, like, you know, I just can't stomach Remy Ma no more. Like, she has really, really just destroyed her own image. She is out here looking like a straight up crackhead, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know Remy act like we ain't been following their love life and their relationship for the past 15, 20 years or so. She act like we don't know that she went and did some goofy shit and got locked up when she had a child to raise, because obviously shooting this girl was more important than raising her fucking kid. You understand what I'm saying? And, you know, this man held her down while she was in jail for, what was it, 6 or 8 years? One of them. But it was quite some time. What's going on, Jenny Bob? What's crack-a-lackin'? You know, she was in jail for a minute. You know what I'm saying? He held her down. He went to see her like every week. He basically raised her son for her while she was in there. She could talk all the smack she want to talk. There is no credible evidence anywhere that Pap ever cheated on her. You understand what I'm saying? We don't have any credible evidence. You know, I feel like she's just grasping at straws now. You know, she's the one who went out and, you know, took up with this loser and basically just destroyed her own legacy. Because at the end of the day, Pap was holding her down. It was no real excuse for her to go and, you know, lay up with this other dude, except that she's just a piece of shit as a person. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's just verifiably a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. And, you know, now she realizes, okay, damn, I fumbled the bag. You know, meaning I lost a good thing. We're not talking about monetarily, you know what I'm saying? But I lost a good thing in Pap. And she don't know what to do with herself, because dudes like Pap, they don't come along very often, especially at her age, with her looks, with her people attributes. She's a very low quality woman from what I can see. I could be totally wrong, but man, I mean, my God, I'm just observing her from the outside looking in, and nothing looks good. You dig? Like, she's talking about, she's trying to talk to Clarissa, like trying to form some type of bond with her. I feel sorry for you. You know, why you with this old man? He got these kids. You ain't got no kids. Because you want them. Because you want them, you damn roach. You want him. And he don't want your ass. He done leveled up. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, she goes on to talk about how he's broke and he's this and he's that and he's that. Man, you wasn't talking none of that shit when you was with him. And he did the world for you while your ass was in the county or in the feds, whatever the case may be. You wasn't talking none of that shit when that's where it was. You did. And this man held you down, gave you a lifetime's worth of loyalty. And how do you repay him? You know, this is the type of thing, you know, we're always promoting marriage on this show, you know, and being upstanding men and, you know, doing what you should do, you know, in a marital capacity. You know, we don't believe in going out here laying down kids left and right, willy-nilly. We don't believe in Cam Newton, Tristan Thompson, and Nick Cannon philosophy of dealing with women on this show. We always encourage young men to go out and get married. But then when you see a piece of shit like this on the other end of the marriage to what appears to be a good, solid brother, you understand what I'm saying? I understand why a lot of cats out here are hesitant to marry, because this is not the only time this has happened. You understand what I'm saying? It's not the only female this has happened with. This is a trend. And then, you know, people want to talk, well, you know, these guys, they always want to date the white women. It's the white women. Okay, well, shit. Remy Ma is black. She black as my ass. Okay, what you got now? Not just her, but other women out here who are married, but you know, they're not really carrying themselves as good wives like that. You know, people talk about Russell Wilson and Sierra a lot, you know what I'm saying? As, you know, a solid brother, appearingly solid brother. And the sister is just, you know, it's just not up to the standard. I don't understand the change in their relationship. It appears to be a reality TikTok show. My brain hurts. Facts, Jenny Bob. That's real talk. And that's just what I see, man. I just see someone who she has the trash can. Facts. She's trash. You know, and he should have seen that a while ago. But that's just what I see, fellas. What y'all got, man?
Well, the number one thing I want to ask people, especially everybody in the chat,
yeah,
what is the one thing that every woman asks a man to be there for them? Like, what's the one thing that they want out of a man?
I know what it is. Jenny, what you got? What you saying? I know what it is.
What's that one thing that you want from a man?
They always talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, Jenny, y'all always complain about how men cheat, and y'all want a man to just be faithful.
And not only that, the number one thing that the women want is supportive. Exactly, Bobby. Supportive.
You want like a good sports bra. They want that support.
They want a supportive man, right?
Right.
So you have this man. You did something stupid. Now, as much as all these women want to back up, and this is what I say, you guys sit here and promote and embrace people with toxic behavior. This whole, I'm on Remy Ma's side, and you're still making her the victim after there's receipts showing you she's the villain. But yet you have Papoose, who is, and shout out to Joe Budden and his team, because they were the ones playing it, but they sat back and played that whole fucking video of her interview where she was like, yo, Papoose came to visit me every damn day. They was like, how long was it a commute to go see you? It was at least an hour to get to me every day.
It's insane.
It got so bad, I told him not to come. And then he didn't stop. He went 3 times a week.
That's crazy.
So you have a man that was taking care of shit and making sure that you were straight. Because let me tell you something, women. Men, we tend to see and appreciate a lot of the things the little things that matter to a lot to men. We're talking about healthy men. We're not talking about all the fucked up niggas y'all dated that didn't appreciate you. But real men that appreciate the little stuff, right?
Yeah.
These men understand that. So when you have when she's out here talking about, he comes, I had to tell him to slow down and come 3 times a week, and he's coming 3 times a week effortlessly.
Yeah.
You didn't appreciate the small things that he was doing, because that takes a lot. And you know what that small thing did for you, Remy? It gave you a clear conscience while you was locked up like a fucking guinea pig.
Yeah.
Because that moment that he was there, you had the peace and tranquility that releases out of you. When you're around somebody that you bond with like that, every time they come around you, all the negative shit that's in your mind releases. You're at home, your comfort.
And you
he was your safe space in a fucking prison of chaos.
Yeah.
And he made sure he got there every day to have just a general conversation that created you peace. So when you left that conversation, your ass went back to your bunk and you slept good until you seen him there the next day. And you said, don't come every day. He didn't have a problem with that shit because his love made sure that I would walk fucking mountains to make sure that my woman is good, even if she's behind fucking bars. And you sat back and abused that because that's who you are. You are an abuser.
She's a predator.
Based on your actions.
Yeah, she's a predatory person, no doubt.
Exactly. So I'm looking at all the receipts out there. And then what made me so mad is that you got some women out there that are mad with Papoose because he's out there practicing with his new girl.
Wow.
He's showing support to his new woman. And y'all like, oh, this is his come up. No, it's not his come up. Because guess what? The receipt said again that Clarissa came on the interview and said, y'all don't understand how much Papoose has helped me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With the workouts, with the quotes, with the information, the knowledgeable information that he's given her, the pointers. She's learning so much from this man. So you sitting back talking about it's a come up. You know what's so crazy to me? This man, she says, is 47 years old. But guess what? A 47-year-old Remy Ma does not have the same value as a 47-year-old Papoose. Women get that shit straight.
Not even close. And
men can get the best of the best, even in their elder years. Women, you are struggling, competing against these young girls that are knocking you out the box. There is no equal level on it.
Anthony, come on now. You know they just want a young girl because they want a girl they can control. What you talking about, man?
Hey.
Go
and the
ahead.
funny thing is, the perfect example of that can also be found right here. Remy went to go cheat on Pap. And who did she get? Did she get with an Andre Ward? Did she get with a Terrence Crawford? No, she got hell. Did she get with the Nas?
She got with the corner boy, the one that was.
She got with great value Dollar General
Papoose,
corner store Papoose. She didn't get with Papoose. She got with knapsack. She got with plastic bag. That's what she got with.
Right. She got with Papoose. She got with Pap Smear.
The little small paper bags. Yeah, you gonna put you put your Schlitz liquor at the corner store. That's what she got.
Facts.
Meanwhile, when Pap went to go ahead, okay, well, you know what? I'm done with this. Start my new relationship. Who did he get? Literally world champion grade sister.
Yeah, facts.
Exactly. And that's the thing about it, that women, y'all getting y'all emotions about shit, but a man can move off and upgrade just like that. And you looking at it as his bag, and she's looking at it like, no, where's it saying? Another woman's trash is the next woman's treasure, right?
Yeah, right.
Y'all done abandoned that quote? So the guy you claim is trash to you is now this woman's treasure, and she's loving it.
Yeah.
She got more money than you, everything like that. And let me tell you something, and I'm going to land my plane on this. Remember, he did not come out in the media bashing you. You came out bashing because you was the one that still had love for him. And the whole world could see it. The ones that aren't blinded and blindly following you and worshiping you can see that you have love for this guy because you fucked up and got caught.
Yeah.
And guess what? He spared you because I had the utmost respect for Remy Ma. And because of your dumbass went and poked the bear, this man methodically had destroyed you. And you know how he destroyed you? Because everything that you are known for, this man wrote for you.
Facts.
You're eating off this man's intellect.
Facts.
And people did not realize it.
But he has no income, though. But he
has
no income.
He has no income, though.
And your rhyme pattern changed. That's how the people that knew you from Remy before to Remy now understood that your lyrics got way better. That Sheetha we knew that was Papoose that wrote that shit because it wasn't your vocab that we didn't expect your vocab to be like that, but we expect Papoose vocab to be like that. And that man didn't even want to oust you, but because you kept poking the bear, talking about he didn't have enough money to file a divorce and all that, man sat back and wrote he told everybody every rhyme he wrote for you. And guess what? He didn't have his name on there. He put your name on there, made sure you got the credit so that way you can forever feed yourself and your family and your children, just in case he might pass away. You still had a way he made a way for his child's mother, his wife, to eat and constantly eat. Right now, you're eating. Every time you do a show, you're eating off of papoose, but yet your ungrateful ass has some fucking shit to say, and I land my plane on that.
Nah, listen, man. That's what it is. And you know, it's really unfortunate, you know, how things went, because you know, I always knew that he was writing for her, because she never rapped like that before. And if we're gonna keep it a buck, Remy likes to try to pull rank on Pap all the time. You know, he ain't got no money, he broke, he this, he that, he ain't da. Remy, you a one-hit wonder your damn self. If we're gonna keep it a buck, you got that one old musty ass song, Conceited. I'm conceited, I got a reason. You have no other hits by yourself. Your other two hits was features with Fat Joe, All the Way Up and Lean Back. Other than that, you don't have no hit records, Remy. You know what I'm saying? And if we're gonna talk about who's broke, at the end of the day, it says Remy Ma, it's estimated between 2 and 4 million is her total net worth. That ain't no money, not for an entertainer.
She ain't
for an
no
entertainer,
moves.
And you live in New York, you ain't popping like that.
I'm gonna keep it all real with you, because I before this, I had been arguably the hugest Remy Ma fan.
Oh, wow. Y'all better than me. I never liked her.
Now, see, I knew Remy, and I was a fan of hers from way back in the day when she was originally rolling with, not even Terror Squad, but when she was rolling with Big Pun. You see, a lot of people don't know, but Remy was actually discovered by Big Pun. Pun found her, saw she had some talent, took her under his wing, and he was mentoring her up until he passed away. Now, Fat Joe, in the same parasitic, in his stereotypical parasitical manner, he saw the same thing that Pun did, but his goal wasn't trying to nurture her and help build her skills up the way Pun was. It was to exploit her. And that's why you never saw Remy do anything independent outside that Terror Squad brand and everything. That's why, if you notice, when Terror Squad was popping, because it wasn't DJ Khaled that made the group hot. When you see Terror Squad, all those big hits Terror Squad had, Let Me Take You Home and everybody else. If you look at those tracks, the hit songs that really did numbers, the hottest person on those verses, it wasn't Fat Joe. It wasn't Armageddon. It wasn't Triple Seis. None of the other Terror Squad cats. It was Remy. Remy bodied all of those tracks. And so the reason why she was never able to pop off like that is because he kept on crippling her and pretty much was hitching the wagon to. So basically, she was used as the vehicle to make Terror Squad hot. He wasn't really allowing her to really get any motion of her own, which makes it all the more crazy when you finally get someone like Papoose who's genuinely looking out for your best interest. And you ain't got to tell that to me. Joe did that with everybody. That's why nobody that knows Joe actually rocks with him. Cuban Link, who was Big Pun's man, they were best friends before Terror Squad days. When they was linked up together, as soon as Pun passed away, Joe kicked Link about there. And to this day, Big Pun's family still has hate for Joe. Joe ain't allowed to come around no more.
They despise
Not a
him.
single person in Fat Joe's family has anything good or positive to say. And there's a lot of people that got stories like that about Joe. So that's just part of his character at this point. So when you finally get someone like Pap who generally has your best interest, not just from a business standpoint, but a personal standpoint, do you know how dirty and foul you have to be to show me your ass like that?
Putrid, bruh. Just downright.
If she would have had a Papoose in her corner from jump, $2 million net worth. Oh, nah. She'd have been way up there. She'd have easily been one of the elites in the game right now. All kind of hit records, classic joints. The rest would have been history. But
that's the thing, though. Her mentality. Go ahead.
No. But when you see how she did Papoose, you kind of understand why she never got any motion. Outside the other factors, you kind of see why it didn't happen in the first place.
That's what I was about to say.
When you finally got what you were praying for, what you were hoping for, look what you did with it. Look at you.
And
look at you.
Bruh.
Not Out here looking crazy, like you got a pile of shit in your hand right now. You look crazy.
When you squeeze an orange, what happens?
Juice pours.
Why?
Some juice about to come out.
Why?
Popped.
Huh?
Because that's what an orange got. Orange.
That's what because that's what was already in there. That's what was already in there, bro. You know what I'm saying? And this is what happens. You know, when you find out who people are, when you squeeze people. Remy Ma right now, she ain't popping. She being squeezed. You dig? Back then, she had her time when she wasn't popping. She was being squeezed, and when you being squeezed, people find out what's in you. You dig? The proper way would have been to just take another avenue, do something legit. Get yours, whatever the case may be. But what you don't do is have the mentality that Remy has. Like you say, I suspect that's why she never got the blessing in, because she's always probably been this person. She's always been slimy. I'm just saying, bro, like it's just too much proof. My God. Yeah. So yeah, man, this is where we are, man. So, we got to do it, man. This is one of my favorite segments of the show, the Trending Celebrity News. And today we're going to talk about a celebrity who don't want to be a celebrity, but we're going to make her ass a celebrity. You understand what I'm saying? Because she got some shit going on. She like to be behind the scenes. But this is about the drama surrounding Desiree Perez. And, people of the Joe Budden podcast this week, they asked them, well, why you not calling out? Why y'all scared to call out Desiree Perez? And basically Joe came up with some cock-a-baby ass excuse about, she ain't really a celebrity. She was the damn top. She got voted top executive in hip hop last year. What are you talking about? You understand what I'm saying? Like she's manager or curator of all the top acts. She's the one behind Meg Thee Stallion. She's the one behind Halle Bailey. So it kind of ties in with some of the other characters we've been discussing today. So we're going to go ahead and talk about her story, because there's some really, really egregious shit going on in the neighborhood of Miss Desiree Perez involving her daughter. Check this story out. This blew my mind.
Facility for a mental health evaluation if, among other reasons, they are a danger to themselves or others.
But in a new lawsuit, a South Florida woman says that she was held in mental institutions for nearly 2 weeks for no legitimate reason. And she shared body camera video that she says proves her case and raises questions about how this law meant to protect people can be implemented.
Prevent me from leaving alone. The incident started on March 27th of last year.
So legally, I can't go home.
No.
Why?
Body camera video shows Broward Sheriff's deputies met on the side of the road in Dania Beach.
Hello. How's it going? How's it going?
By this man.
I'm waiting for a car to go by. There's a girl driving it. She's like a kind of mentally unstable person.
BSO has not responded to inquiries about who called the deputies there, but it appears they're taking direction from the man in the gray t-shirt.
She's heading over here right now. Pinging her or? Yes, they have a GPS on her.
He asks deputies to follow him to a nearby parking lot once she arrives.
I have a doctor, Dr. Boba from Hollywood Memorial Hospital, who's over there right now waiting for her to show up, and he's going to bake her out.
And when I showed up, it obviously was not an estimate.
Demore Hadley says she was lured to that parking lot by someone posing as a potential client for the landscaping company she runs with her then boyfriend, now husband. But according to her lawsuit, when she showed up, she was approached by several people.
We're going to take her.
Including Dr. Daniel Bober, the chief of psychiatry at Memorial Regional Hospital, who also runs a private practice and has been featured as a mental health expert on media outlets, including NBC6.
I already knew I had intuition. Something is not right here.
Deputies also had questions for those present, at least at first.
Who are you guys? So we're a mobile crisis team working with Dr. Bober from Hollywood Memorial Hospital.
Okay. Memorial Healthcare tells us there is no mobile crisis team affiliated with the hospital, and Dr. Bober did not respond to our inquiry. We found the people seen here, James Fondo and Stephen and Jessica Cady, are actually owners of Sig9, a private security company. The men, both former high-ranking BSO officers, according to their bios.
Am I being detained?
For now, you're being detained.
The Baker Act, which Dr. Bober was citing, allows a physician to order someone they've examined in the previous 48 hours be held against their will in a mental health facility if they pose a risk to themselves or others, and the doctor can ask law enforcement to take them there.
He's not my doctor. He's never seen me in my life.
A concern Demore raises several times in the video.
He's a doctor. He's part of the mobile crisis unit.
I've never spoken to him.
I don't care.
And she also says he never examined her. On the Baker Act paperwork, Dr. Bober certified he did that exam at 5:56 p.m. that day. The same time, video shows them all still in that parking lot. He diagnosed her with an unspecified psychosis, adding she was a risk to herself. She claims it all stems from an ongoing dispute between Demore and her own mother, who denies the allegations, saying in a motion to dismiss the lawsuit that the family attempted to get help out of concern for her daughter's physical and mental well-being. Demore's lawsuit claims deputies never verified the identity of the individuals on scene and took their word despite Demore repeatedly voicing concerns.
So I don't even know where to begin. To think you're a private citizen that owns your own business and someone can pose as someone who wants to do a business deal with you and lure you to a parking lot somewhere where some other people have conspired, the local police force people, and these people that, one of them is the guy who works at Memorial, and then these other people from this private security firm who have nothing to do with anything medical anywhere, by the way. You understand what I'm saying? And just say that they're a mobile crisis team, which Memorial West says that doesn't even exist. And the police will make you get in the car and leave with these people. They can detain you for 2 weeks with no proof of anything. And her mom, just so that we're clear, is Desiree Perez, who is the co-CEO of Rock Nation. At the top of Rock Nation, there's Desiree Perez and Jay-Z. They run Rock Nation. And she says, it's a very long, drawn-out thing there, but she says that, her mom used her connections to make all that happen. So you got doctors on payroll, on salary, allegedly. This is all alleged. You got doctors on salary. You got people in the police force on salary. You got people in this private security firm on salary, and they all met up to work together in tandem to set this up so that they could lure this lady somewhere and Baker Act her and lock her ass up for 2 weeks in a mental health facility against her will, with no proof of anything. No drugs found in her system. She was perfectly sane. Nothing. Bruh, my head exploded when I was listening to this shit. What? Do you know how many constitutional laws you violated? Oh my God. So this is what is being alleged. And in the other, I couldn't find the clip. Because in another clip, she says, my mom's CEO of Rock Nation, it's her with the rapper Jay-Z. You can't find that clip nowhere. All right, I'm just gonna put that out there. That clip, I looked and looked and looked. It's probably somewhere, but man, they're making it hard for you to find it.
What clip?
Like, wow, huh?
What clip?
Yeah, man, you sound like Diddy talking about Kid Cudi's car. What car?
Car.
Dude, car.
Car.
You blew up my car. What happened to my car? What car? What the hell is going on, dude? I mean, that is egregious, brother. Allegedly, she's doing all this because she has a problem with the fact that the daughter has a black husband. You understand?
Sounds about right.
Apparently her little racist ass got an issue with the Negras, like a lot of Hispanics that we know. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be, except for the other very powerful Negra that she runs the organization with. You know what I'm saying? When you got a little paper, it's okay. You understand what I'm saying? But other than that, your blackness is a hindrance. What the hell do y'all make of this bullshit? That threw me more than any other case that I saw Because boy, the levels of projection in this one are off the Richter scale.
Black on green, black on cream.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that Hispanic correlation up.
Yeah.
And I've told people I've been a very big advocate of showing and improving anti-Black hatred coming from the Hispanic community. Even going as far as telling people that if you run across a Hispanic person, just ask them to pull out their ID. Pull out their ID and show you. And you'll see that it says white. There's no such thing as brown. Who's brown?
Yeah.
This and Black people gotta get the bullshit out of their head. They gotta stop with the people of color, this minority bullshit. All of that ties in everybody. White people are people of color. White people are minority. It's a trick bag. At the end of the day, these people are brainwashed into a caste system to think that they're white. They're gonna act white and they're gonna do things like white folks do. When you look at this whole situation, you know, as bad as it is for the daughter, it's very concerning for people that's not the daughter.
Right.
Like if I was the boyfriend, the husband, I would be fucking concerned.
Yeah.
Because not only do you have power and resources, but you have ex-police officers on your payroll that can plant shit on me and then have enough of a rapport with other officers around in that district to go along with this shit.
Right. Allegedly.
Allegedly, right? So that right there is a very scary place to be in, man.
Yeah, man.
You know,
because they had him arrested 6 times.
Huh?
So because she allegedly had him arrested 6 times. Allegedly. She
allegedly had the boyfriend arrested 6 times?
Yes. That's
wow.
a long story, so I couldn't put that in. Allegedly, she's had him arrested 6 times.
So here's the thing, right? I'm glad you said that because now we can see allegedly the targeting was for the husband, the boyfriend. But, you know, with the children, they rebel so much, they don't even want to go the path of what the parents are. So the parent like, fuck, how many times I got to arrest this man for you to get away from him? So fuck it, I'm going to arrest your ass. I'm going to switch the harassment on you now. Maybe if I do it to
force you to give up.
Exactly. If I pressure you enough, maybe you'll give up who you're with. And damn, that is even more devastating to even know about what's going on. But, you know, when you look at that whole situation and you say to yourself, the fact that I'm white and I'm say so, we hear Tariq and all these other notable podcasts and historians and people in our community that do great work. We always hear them say that I'm white and I say so.
Yeah.
But you actually get to see a video of that happening because here you have the person who would know if I'm in front of somebody say, I don't know this guy from a can of paint. He never did anything. And yet you like, well, as an officer, you say, well, you got to go there. But just because I say so, you know what I'm saying?
That is wild.
And fucking throw her in handcuffs based on what another man says. Because he's white. Now, if you switch it around and if it was a Black person that came out there to the police officers, the motherfuckers probably would have the flashlight in the Black guy's eyes like, yo, you on dope? You coming to us to what? And you're telling them to come over here and then you want us to come over there and fuck out of here. Where's your license? Let me see your license.
That's a level of cooperation we've never seen in our own.
Exactly. Never. That goes back to the Jim Crow session. Like it's Jim Crow 225, right? Modern day Jim Crow.
That would be about as outrageous as us asking one of them to go and get a drink with us while they're on duty. It's just it would never cross your mind to do such a thing.
Yeah, the level of that is just is mind-blowing, but it doesn't surprise any of us because we understand the system of racism. And it's Black people that need to look at that and start to realize, like, this is why we always tell you, You need to start focus on building your own, because when these people have their own institutions, they can get away with shit like this.
Yeah.
You know, when you have the institutions, no, they're all in cahoots. If I'm sending the police and sending her to this mental institution, they're gonna believe the police. They're gonna ride with the police. You know what I'm saying? And that's how and the thing that saves this daughter is the fact that once you get placed in there, your resume now looks fucked up. But because she's casted as white and her mother has power, it doesn't affect her like that. But can you imagine a black person who's doing well for himself and she puts him, like say if she did her husband like that and put him in a mental institution for the rest of his life, he is non-fucking credible. Because he got placed in an institution that is labeling him as out of his mind, that he is not as sane as he claims to be out here in the regular society. That is fucking ridiculous, and I'll land my plane on that.
And just let me just give you a little more game. I didn't know that y'all didn't really know the particular. I've been really following this case, and bruh, in addition to that, before you go on, Bobby, in addition to that, she also has, allegedly, this is what the daughter's saying, has their entire home bugged. There's bugging devices throughout their home. They found them. There's bugging devices in their vehicles. They found them. She bought a house in Davie. The mother rented a house across the street and has somebody following them 24/7. This is what read that lawsuit. That lawsuit is crazy. Has somebody following them 24/7 to the point where it's gotten uncomfortable, the distance of the following, whatever the case may be. She also, a company that she worked for, her mother kind of bought into the company. Her mother bought into the company, gave them a very sizable amount of money to do a project with, and that gave her sway over some of the governance within the company. And to my understanding,
to quote the great Dave Chappelle, got the bitch.
Yeah, I believe she got her fired from her company because she did that. She'd been pulling moves and doing all types of things to harass her. And when she's sending these emails, to harass her, she's using the Rock Nation company letterhead. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, the way that it looks, you may start hearing about Jay-Z. That there've been talks of her maybe having to step down from CEO of Rock Nation because they have receipts on this. Is not just hearsay. You understand what I'm saying? They have receipts on this shit, and it's a very detailed lawsuit that breaks down all of the types of harassment that she's been enduring for years from her mother. This is what she's alleging. Now, go ahead, Bobby. I just want to give you all that other context to it. It's more than just that stuff. Go ahead.
This is power dynamics being executed at the highest of levels.
Oh, yeah.
Albeit not with the same level of, or not with the typical level of nuance and subtlety. There's a little brashness with it, but then again, what's power if it doesn't get abused every once in a while? But like you said, this is an excellent, and I'm shocked to hear this because this is my first time hearing about this. So I'm gonna need you to send me some of them details.
Yeah. Oh man, I'll put in the chat.
But again, this is what it looks. This is really what it looks like, if nothing else, where you get to see how all the different levels of power are connected with each other. Our beloved elder, the late and very great Neely Fuller Jr.
Yeah,
he classified what we call the 10 areas of people activity, and how pretty much the system of racism, white supremacy, makes it its business to govern and interject itself into every single one of these areas. And he pretty much defined it as these 10 areas. It used to be 9. He revised it in the revised edition of the Compensatory Code Book.
Yeah.
And he said that pretty much these 10 areas everything that people do, that every area of life that we engage in, can all be pretty much categorized into these different areas. There's not a single thing that we do that is outside of the scope of this. And those are economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, war, and actually flashing back, and health. I'm respecting health was the 10th area. Okay. It was actually Dr. Francis Cress Welsing who suggested that to Brother Fuller, and he agreed as well. Two of those titans working together. But you're seeing right now how you have the intersection of entertainment, economics, labor, and law, and politics to a degree, all coming together for one goal. And it seems so simple and trivial and ridiculous. But that's just how it is. And the funny thing is, and this is why I keep telling people that real life is so much stranger than fiction. That's why I'm not a naive or gullible person. I don't believe every single thing I hear and see. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things that we see in movies and TVs, we just brush off like, oh, well, that was a good movie. We don't understand. A lot of these things are closer to the truth than you would like to believe. There's a reason why if you watch certain shows like Law and Order SVU, for example,
they'll
always put the show in the beginning, usually the beginning, sometimes at the end, but usually in the beginning they'll pretty much say that the names and events and the places in the show are not meant to mimic anything else. Pretty much basically saying what you see here is not real life. The names or everything, all this is fictionalized. This isn't a real event. But you'd be surprised about how many of these episodes and these books and things and these movies are based on real events where they just change names, they change locations, they change dates. If you look at perfect examples, books, you don't see this as much with movies. I don't talk about it too much, but they'll be very candid about this with books. A lot of these hit best-selling authors like your Dean Koontz, your Tom Clancy, your Robert Ludlums that make these espionage novels and everything.
What you know about Robert Ludlums? Okay.
You better get in my face. Watch out.
Okay. I see you.
I'm a book. I've been slacking. I'm better now, but I'm a bookworm par excellence.
Okay. All right.
I'm certified in this thing. But they will tell you that they source their material. There's a whole lot of retired and active military and government contract works from the CIA, the DEA, ATF, all these alphabet letter organizations that when they retire or sometimes while they're active, they actually freelance their expertise. And you'll have authors, you'll have script writers, you'll have directors, you'll have everyone that is involved in any sort of entertainment production that will contract them and pick their brains. They're trying to make a realistic, they try to make sure that the writing is realistic. The terminology is on point. The way that these characters are acting and behaving themselves. They want to make sure they create a realistic product. And so they will talk to these people and get their insight. You actually have people who've been there in the field. They've taken out some bodies, all right? They've done some covert operations in Belarus, in Thailand, in Mozambique. And they will actually give their insight. They'll actually even use some material from their cases or from missions they worked, and they'll only give out so much. They won't give out anything that can necessarily be traced. But a lot of these things, it's definitely a big if you know type deal where you have some people sit back and it's like, hey, this looks just like the mission we worked in Kandahar. I wonder if Craig was consulting on this. They have those conversations.
Yeah, of course they do.
So when you see things like this might sound completely out of the ordinary, but this happens all the time. You just don't get to see it.
Sure, and that's why I wanted to put it on here, because we're actually seeing it play out in real time. What are the odds?
I feel for those couples, and I feel for that couple too, because I'm going to tell you, when you were talking, there was one thing that leapt into my brain and was sitting the whole time. The last time, obviously not as famous on this level, but the last time we saw something like this, like almost the whole category, was Princess Diana.
Yeah, and we know how
because
that
remember now. Because, and of course, the media did a wonderful job of not publicizing this properly, but all the information is out there. They didn't bother to cover that up. They just didn't make the connections and say what it was.
Right.
But the whole reason why Princess Diana and her boyfriend, Dodi Al-Fayed, it's crazy I actually remember that too.
Mm-hmm.
They passed away in that car accident. It wasn't because the paparazzi was chasing. That was what they were putting out there.
Yeah.
The issue is that Diana's family had beef with her dating this Muslim man.
Yes.
And very similar to this, they had been stalked. They'd had private security going after them, hunting them down, making threats and everything against them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they saw the paparazzi, it's speculated that that a member of the paparazzi crew was actually not one of them, but was in fact contracted by the family, and that's what spooked them. But whether they just got paranoid or whether it's because they saw someone in the crowd that they knew was coming for them, that's the reason they took off and they ended up crashing, trying to make the getaway from those people.
Mm-hmm.
I hope the same thing doesn't happen here, but based on what's been presented, the stage is set.
And shout out to the young girl for getting ahead of the narrative, because I think that's probably, see, it's a new day. It's a new day and age, and there are cameras everywhere, and everything has a paper trail. That's the difference between now and the days of Princess Diana. You dig? So I think she probably felt the same way, like, man, I don't know when she's gonna stop or if she stops. Damn, let me go ahead and put this out here to protect myself.
If anything happens.
Because, they had her locked away in a mental institution for 2 weeks and she's perfectly sane. There's no telling what they could have did to her in there. We still don't know what the hell they did to Kanye, but boy, we know when he came out, his ass was different. You understand? Yeah. So, and I'm not giving Kanye any bail. Fuck Kanye. Kanye is still a whole ass nigga, but, something happened when they put him away. I believe that they did something to him, or they tried to. You understand what I'm saying? And yeah, man, I think that very well may be a tactic for this young lady to really just try to get ahead of this and put it out there. So, hey, if anything happens to me, it's her.
Or my husband, we understand what it is.
Yeah, like right now, she can't do that much if she wanted to. Because all eyes on you. Everybody, I don't believe y'all didn't hear this, man. Everybody's talking about this. I don't know if y'all listen to like hip hop spaces and stuff. Like, I listen to hip hop commentary constantly, and maybe that's why I'm catching it. Like, everybody is talking about this, except for Joe Budden and the Breakfast Club, and of all people, DJ Academics called them out for not. When DJ Academics is calling you out, it's bad. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yo.
Never let your enemies get one on you, boy.
Oh, man. Ack was calling them out dirty. And
I bet he was.
This other guy, too, he's from No Jumper, this kid, Poetic Flacco. He called them out, too. You know what I'm saying? And, some of the other people, Justin Hunt, the company man, he's really good as far as hip-hop commentary. Curtis King, it's another one really good as far as hip-hop commentary. Screwface John, these guys are all calling them out. And I'm like, shit, like they are, and these guys have huge followings. So they're not going to be able to ignore it like they'd like to, you know what I'm saying? But the idea being, okay, well, shit, y'all clicked in with Jay-Z. You understand what I'm saying? So you don't want to speak on shit when, something might be going awry that has whole name close to it. And by the way, this lady,
your boy.
You know what I'm saying? By the way, this lady, Desiree Perez, I didn't know who the hell she was before this scandal. You understand what I'm saying? But now, man.
Now you know.
Whoo, she's everywhere. And come to find out, Desiree Perez used to be a drug mule. She got caught with 30 bricks, 30 keys. And and she ended up being a federal informant. I'm not saying anything that's not public record. People know this already. Everybody's reported on it. I'm just repeating what was reported on because I didn't know this shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what? So, and I'm federal informant. Wait, this is Jay-Z's business partner?
Perico Caballero.
I thought Jay-Z was real nigga, and you know all this old shit, right? I don't buy into that shit, but this is the persona, and it's like, bruh,
it's your boy, The Rock.
You know what I'm saying? Illuminati hand gesture and everything. You dig? It's like, yo,
Jehovah, you heard.
But isn't that curious though? What?
Doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise me. Snake C goes. Everywhere Snake C goes. You can't make stuff up.
It doesn't surprise me, because when you look at a lot of people that have the clout, that have the rise in fame, they have a dirty fucking background. I don't fuck with Snoop like that, because you remember Snoop had beat a murder case. Ever since he beat that murder case, Snoop been on top of the world. You got so many other people that have been in some fucked up situations that they were supposed to be gone, get the opportunity now to have power and get money by this system. They will take somebody that already has been wrapped in rug, basically waddling in the mud, pull them out of the mud, give them a new life, and then have them do some dirty shit. And then when it's all said and done, they can throw you back out there and put you where you were supposed to be before they came and saved you. You know, so you got a lot of these people that's out there that's roaming around with power when they should have been locked up or, out of the whole commission in the first place.
Yeah, that threw me off, bro. I was like, what? It's public record. You can look it up anywhere. I'm like, what? And, naturally, when you find out who somebody is and they're supposed to be a thing, I never knew who the fuck she was. I'm like, okay, well, why don't I know this person? I'm a hip hop dude. And man, I looked at her and she didn't do much jail time, did a few months. She was out. Donald Trump pardoned her. What? Yo, my head has exploded the whole time I'm reading this shit. Like it's a paragraph or two, and I'm just like, holy, what? Who is this person?
Shout out to the head citrus in charge.
Oh man, so this is wild right here, dude. Like but I think this is going to have further implications. If she does, I think they're going to make her step down, because this is the way that this is going. This young lady is signaling, because she made sure she mentioned that she's CEO of Rock Nation, that she runs that company with Jay-Z.
Bringing too much heat. Too much heat.
You see how they coming after Diddy. It's a hop, skip, and a jump over there. You got this person that's allegedly using their powerful connections to do things like this. And that's a RICO. You know what I'm saying? That's the textbook definition of a RICO.
Yep.
If
engaging in criminal enterprise.
What she's saying, yeah, like that's wow, bro. I really don't want to see that happen to anybody, but God damn, if it's true, you know what I'm saying, and they're able to prove that, this looks crazy. So watch that space, man. You know what I'm saying? And but it just seems, like I said, the show is about projection. And from what this young lady is alleging, it seems like there's a lot of projection going on with this mother, saying all these things about the daughter, which seem to be the type of actions that she's putting forth. You know what I'm saying? Of someone that's mentally unstable, of someone, that's, just not right. And, making, all these erratic moves or whatever the case may be. It's a wild case. I'm going to put that in the chat. Y'all got to read that whole case. It's wild.
Yeah.
So you got this guy, right?
Who that?
I can't really see it. Felix Tegarina.
Yeah.
Right? And this was back in 1956 to 1960.
Yeah.
He said, let the Negro fight his own battles.
I remember
his problems are not mine. I don't want to ally with him.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I know the quote.
Yeah. And in LA, they had LA gang attack in Chicago. Black protesters. They also had LA gangs that were setting fire to homes.
Yes, they did.
Burning down black people. Man, they have a whole piece on it. It says gang members admit to firebombing black families in Boyle Heights housing development. A Latino gang have admitted to carrying out a racially motivated firebombing attack on Black families in the Ramona Gardens housing developments in Boyle Heights. This was back in the LA Times.
Yeah.
And they also said the Latino gang charged with racial cleansing attacks in California town. Over 50 members of the Barrio Asura 13 were indicted for violating civil rights. I think it was over 100 and something of them that got arrested.
Yep.
Wow.
So,
That's your black and yellow coalition hard at work there for you.
Yeah,
The black and brown coalition.
Like Henry Clark said, we have no friends, man. And until we get that through our thick ass skull, we're gonna always fight for our enemies that's gonna turn around and bite us. Remember last time I was telling you that the famous story that they put out there on Facebook was a boy rescuing a snake. He was trapped up coiled up into some wires, and he was gonna die. And the boy unraveled them and rescued the snake. While he was bringing him back to safety, the snake bit him. The boy said, "Hey, I just helped you. Why do you bite me?" At the end of the fucking day, I'm still a snake.
That's facts, bro. That's facts. He's still a snake.
I'm a snake. I bite. I don't make tea. I don't fix cars.
Yeah.
You know, I don't do sales. I bite.
Facts. Make sure y'all take that lesson with y'all. We're gonna move into our last segment today. Our illustrious crowd check. I love my sisters, so I want to make sure I put this sister on blast right here. I got a special relationship with this sister because, look, when I was in Brain Bowl as a kid, you know, we was out here, you know, in these streets killing these other schools. And we went to this school, and I didn't know who the hell this lady was. And she was supposedly a Black hero, and I didn't know her. And I felt a way about that because I'm Mr. Brain Bowl. And, you know, I have a Black empowerment background. My grandma raised me. I'm Evelyn Haynes' grandson. You dig? I did not know who Phyllis Wheatley was. You dig? And so at the age of, 11 or 12, when I was in Brain Bowl, I looked her up and I found out about her. And Phyllis Wheatley was an American writer who's considered the first African-American author of a published book of poetry. She was born in West Africa, kidnapped and subsequently sold in slavery at the age of 7 or 8, transported to North America, where she was brought by the Wheatley family of Boston. After she learned to read and write, they encouraged her to write poetry and so forth and so on. You know, and that's also a big accomplishment back in those days because, remember, as Black folks, we were not allowed to learn to read and write. You know what I'm saying? So just the fact that she learned to read and write, and then she was also the first author of a published book of poetry is a big deal. You know, she took a trip to London with the Wheatleys, you know, where her son was seeking publication of her work. She met prominent people who became her patrons. You know, she was praised by quite a few people, publications in London. She was also praised even by George Washington. You know, she was emancipated by the Wheatleys shortly after the publication of her book of poems. The Wheatleys died soon thereafter, and, you know, she did marry John Peters, who was a poor grocer. Said they lost 3 children who died young, and she died in poverty and obscurity at the age of 31. So the story has a very sad ending, you know, but I wanted to make sure, that's why we make sure that we bring our sisters on here and we check them and we speak about them, because she died in poverty and obscurity. And that's why we want to uplift her, you know, and talk about her greatness and her accomplishments in that time. Shout out to that sister. It's very, very important, you know, that we uplift these type of sisters and we speak on these type of things, because at the end of the day, when you start talking about being the first author of a published book of poetry, that ties right into what we do. That ties right into journalism and writing and public speaking and what later would, you know, metamorphosize into podcasting and stuff like that. This is one of the people who laid the foundation for that in that regard. Brothers, what you got? Take us home.
Super dope poetry. I was just that's so funny because I was telling my boy, shout out to my boy Bertram Boyd. You guys know him
Queen
as the Queen of Slim, the one that sold
everybody's favorite villain.
Yeah,
he's the #1 villain. So I was talking to him the other day, and I said, because he's super dope when it comes to poetry, and he was mentored by Will the Real Deal. I don't know if you guys know
the real one.
So Will the Real One down here in Miami was the pioneer person who opened up the poetry scene down here. And you look at him and you see this thug dude. You look at him, he's like kind of like a Scarface mixed with Trick Daddy.
Yeah.
But he was the sweetest dude. He would do anything for you, make sure you were good. He was feeding the family, educating the community. He was doing it all, man. Had a great heart, and his life tragically ended by some stupidity, breaking up a fight and ended up getting shot and killed in the process of doing that. And every time his birthday come around, we would always celebrate or acknowledge him. And the youngster, he got molded by the real one. And when he started, just doing poetry all over, man, people was like, yo, the youngster is a tight dude. Beast. And he made a name for himself, And so I was telling him because he did a poetry session, and people were posting it up, tagging him. So he puts it up in the stories. So he was saying one, and he was like, the way he was freaking it, dog. It was like he was like a DJ scratching. The way he was using his words, it was like he was scratching his words.
Yeah.
Yo, it was dope. He's very creative. And I said, yo, shit is so tight. You're gonna make me want to come out of my 23 years of poetry, right?
Yeah.
I haven't been on the stage in about over 20-something years. And he was like, yo, why don't you do it? So just to see that that the crown check align with what I was just speaking on earlier this week, and people don't understand poetry is very powerful. It's a base art element, even including in hip hop. That's what made Tupac so powerful, because his base lyrics was based off of poetry. He was a poet. So when you look at it, the powers of the words can really portray and protrude in a great and impactful way, especially when it's over some musical instruments. So shout out, solid crown check, man. Definitely everybody needs to know about her, especially our young boys and young girls, because poetry has also been a gateway for us to relieve ourselves without causing physical damage to ourselves or other people. So definitely, man, great crown check. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Bobby, take us home, gang.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the sister. We actually have an elementary school named after her down here. I think
that's the school we had to fight.
Yeah.
That's the school we was going against. Yeah.
So big ups to the sister, man. It's good to hear that. And we need to know, like you said, we need to know these people, because there's tremendous power in tapping into your roots. And it's one thing to know that, this is an old art form, that people did it before us, but when you really can tap into and understand, to have kind of like a mental sight picture of the people that came before you.
Yeah.
It's powerful. A perfect example of that is we talked about that, and we went into it in vast detail, but the scene from Sinners, where you got a preacher boy, he's in there and he's having that moment where he's just so in the zone, and the setting is right, the atmosphere is right, the mood is right.
Yeah.
Everybody's there in one accord on the same wavelength. And he's tapping into that. They're tapping into him. And it's this circuit where the music is just flowing, and it's to the point where it's on a different level, and he's literally channeling the past, the present, and the future all at once. And you see how what was done way before then was reaching and influencing what he was doing. And the sound at the same time was so futuristic that it was tapping into sound and vision that hadn't even been created yet.
Right.
But that's what happens when you're that deeply connected to your art form. And, you know, if you've ever been to a really, really bomb, powerful poetry night, and you've heard these artists that are really just, you know, they're putting their pain, their joys, their hopes, their fears, all their emotions into the words, and everybody's on that same wavelength to the point where you can feel the experience just through what they're saying. You can see them with their eyes closed, or you can hear the fire in the voice. There's power in having that level of rootedness in the craft. So it's good that we know these people. We know their names, we know their faces, we know their works, that we're familiar with it. And it doesn't matter if it's music, if it's singing, if it's rap, if it's poetry, if it's instrumentation, if it's sculpting, if it's painting. You know when you're viewing or experiencing the work of somebody that is connected to the craft versus somebody that just does something. It's different. You can be skilled and have no knowledge. You're just like a raw talent. You can have that, and that's powerful in its own way. But it hits deeper when you're dealing with somebody that is connected at the deepest level. So, you know, if you're a poet, if you're interested in the spoken word, you definitely owe it to yourself to get familiar with Phyllis Wheatley and all the others that came before us. But we appreciate you all for kicking it with us for another week. You know, we would definitely want to encourage you all to take care of yourselves. For those who aren't aware, we are in the month of June. Of course, we have Father's Day coming up soon. We're going to have a special program for you all on that day as well. But this is also Men's Health Month. Specifically, we're concerned, this is Black Men's Mental Health Month. So again, you know, we bang that drum. Fellas, this is our month. This is the month where we celebrate ourselves. But make sure that we're celebrating ourselves in a functional, holistic, healthy way. You can go ahead and kick back. You can have your barbecues. You can get your little sip on, your little cigars, or whatever it is that you do to celebrate. But make sure we're also celebrating ourselves by taking care of our health. So I personally would encourage all you brothers, if you haven't done for this year, we're still in the first half of this year, go ahead, go to your doctor's office, make that appointment to get your physical done. Go get your blood work. Look up, check under the hood. You got your nice cars, you make sure that's all tuned up, the oil is changed. Make sure you pop your own hood and look under there. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Some self-care. Get it in this month. Spend some time at the fishing hole. Link up with the boys. You haven't seen your friends in a good little minute, or rekindle some relationships. Go do that. Go read some books. Listen to some good music. Spend time at the beach. Go get yourself a massage. Go and get them kinks worked out, all the muscles that you spend working all the time. Make sure you're taking care of you this month. There's so many of us that literally drop down dead from exhaustion. We feel like the world's against us, that no one cares. Go ahead and pour into you. I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't care about yourself, how can you expect others to care about you? You set the tone. You set the example. Let them know that this is the bar. This is the line in the sand. And because I have this standard for myself, I'm not going to allow anyone to meet me lower than this. Start treating yourself the way you would like other people to treat you.
It is.
Right? If you like what we said tonight, make sure you go ahead and spread the word of mouth. We love it. But make sure you also share the video. Like it if you haven't already. I don't know why. But make sure you go ahead and hit the like button and the bell icon that's at the top. Make sure you subscribe to all the notifications. You'll only hear from us when we occasionally have some gems to share on the page. But most importantly, when it's our time to go live, you'll have your invitation to pull up a chair and join us. We want to appreciate Jenny and all the others who've been rocking with us. Our IG fam, much love. Those who are going to catch the recap later on, we appreciate you. Our Facebook family, thank you for sharing. Thank you for supporting. Make sure you hit us up. Join our Facebook group, Manifestations 2020. We keep the good content rolling all week long. You don't have to wait 7 days to kick it with us. We'll make sure to keep you right throughout the week. Appreciate y'all once again. This is Major Gage. This is Anthony Malcolm. I am Bobby Drake. We are Manifestations 2020.
Yeah, see it.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
Man up.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You gotta eat what you kill. You gotta go out there, you gotta hunt for your meals.
We all have that ability to connect with people, to be that motivational person in somebody's life.
You gotta let people know there's certain lines you don't cross, and that there's gonna be consequences if you do.
Man up.
If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, that person's emotions are not your responsibility.
Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
The devil, during slavery, destroyed the masculinity or manhood of the so-called Negro. No man. No man. Right now you got to be trained all over again to be a man.
When someone is obligated to do something, it is binding upon them to do it. And failure to do it causes reaction.
Man up.
Position make you rich. I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
If that people knew that glorious path, if that people knew that glorious path, if that people knew that glorious path, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You want to tell me about yourself? Go get your friends. I'll tell you who you are based on who your friends are.
Don't just live and die. That's an ugly existence. Make your life matter, make your life count. Live a life where people can actually mourn you for the things you left behind, not just because you were around and existed.
We need strong black nuclear families.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is. Mother, father, son, daughter, all in the same house with a focus on the family unit as a whole.
We had Tulsa, Atlanta, New Jersey, Detroit. We had Rosewood. We had Black Wall Streets all over.
The Republicans aren't for us, but the Democrats aren't for us either. And we should have no alliance to any political party. We only have alliance to what is in our own best interest.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
At the end of the day, as men in the community, we must stand together and be counted, because people look to us for guidance, leadership, and protection. And if we are not about that business, we are not on our job. Here we have grown-ass man conversations in the spirit of that purpose. Anthony Malcolm, Bobby Drake, Major Gage. We are. This is Manifestations 2020.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.